Okay, so for the end of part 2 that we had to read, that we were supposed to do in class, but now we're doing for the video thing, I think, Jesus Christ, I have to do a weird thing. I think, like, one of the things that I thought was really interesting was how openly Nao would talk about, like, how her family, like, she and her dad are mentally ill. Because I think of that being, like, a more taboo topic in, like, Asian cultures. But also, I mean, considering that Japan has some of, like, the highest suicide rates in the world, it also makes a little sense. I think it's interesting that she, like, thinks that, you know, oh, she's so, like, depressed and suicidal, but ever since she started doing these, like, superpower, like, meditation things, she hasn't been thinking of that. And, like, that's a really interesting mindset to have, like, the thought of being able to, like, deal with those kind of mental illness things without using, like, you know, traditional, like, medication, like what you would automatically recommend to people in the West. I think the interactions between Nao and her dad are really, when he's taking her to the temple to go stay with Zuko, I think it's, like, a really meaningful point in their relationship, because it's kind of like the first time they've really been able to, like, I don't know, understand each other, you know, since, like, she had her, like, funeral and her dad almost died. I feel like this, like, them running steps and going to visit her Zuko was just, like, a moment where they were able to bond again and regain the relationship that they had before, you know, things started going wrong, or, like, before her father and mother weren't, like, on speaking terms anymore. I think that also, you know, the time being in the temple with her Zuko is, like, another eye-opening experience for her, because I think she starts to, you know, see things differently, because her Zuko is, like, 104 years old, so there's a lot for her to learn from Zuko. And she has a lot of knowledge. Like, the scene where she fights, where her Zuko tells her to, you know, like, fight the waves, and then she says, oh, you know, I'm getting beat, but it felt nice to be able to do that. I think that's, like, I like that scene a lot. I think it could, like, I don't know, you know, even if you keep, like, it's kind of like one of those, like, even if you're losing, it still feels nice to, like, be able to try and fight. And I think that's, like, Nao seems like a type of person who has a lot of fighting energy in her. Her grandma also seems, like, super cool, like, super fearless, like, when they meet those, like, delinquent kids outside of the convenience store, and she just kind of, like, tells them, hey, why are you disrespecting your elders? Like, Nao is so scared of those girls, but her grandma just sees it and, like, oh, they're wearing colorful clothes. Like, that's such a, like, old person thing to notice, I think. I mean, on Ruth's half, one of the things I noticed is it kind of seems like, what's his name? You know, the guy that she lives with, her husband. It kind of seems like I don't know how he feels about her and the diary, but it kind of seems like there are some points where he doesn't see the point of it for her, or, like, he doesn't really understand, you know, why this diary has become such a big deal in her life, at least. And he kind of, like, you know, maybe not, like, intentionally, but he jokingly pokes fun in it, and I think that that's, like, an interesting dynamic as well. I liked the visual things, like, towards the end of the section where it does where she can't get access to the article and she says no, like, really loud, and then it skips to, like, the scene of the crow hearing it and then flying away but not being able to get home. And I also really like how the chapters are set up, where it's, like, in the section, especially for Ruth, and, like, it's not even, like, a whole page, it's just, like, a paragraph, and the next chapter is just, like, the next paragraph or the next time that the section changes and it doesn't fit with everything else. So yeah.